Here is the brutal truth. No one is coming to save you. I was a pregnant teen mom on government assistance. No one saved me, so I had to save myself. Welcome to Boss Bitch Radio, where I am serving up raw, no BS advice for women ready to stop waiting and owning their lives. If you're new here, I am your hostess with the mostest, Diane Flores, and today we're going to be diving into how I turned my life around. And if I can do it, you most certainly can do it too. Today, I'm breaking down the key things that you need to change if you are ready to level up your life. We're going to dive into the mindset shifts, habits, hard truths, the things that transformed my life from broke and stuck and depressed to thriving boss bitch mini fitness empire. Before we jump in, I do want to give a shout out to Leila Hormozi. We will obviously link up her content in the show notes. But if you're not familiar with her, please do yourself a favor. Go follow this bad bitch, okay? She's got a no BS approach to taking control of your life. A lot of her content is business related, but this has been a huge inspiration for me. And this episode is inspired by her directness and her relentless drive to help women stop playing small. She really encourages us to start owning our lives. So, if you're ready for some brutally honest advice, stick with me. I am caffeinated, I am medicated, I am motivated. So, I promise this episode will absolutely be worth it. First things first, let's go ahead and talk about owning your life because no one's coming to save you. And that is the brutal, honest truth. So I went from broke to boss, and it was a journey. I'm going to share with you how I took control. So I was pregnant at 16. By 19, I had two kids. I was single mom on every form of government assistance, helpless, feeling stuck, embarrassed. I was a high school beauty dropout. Yes, absolutely. I was done with high school by the middle of my junior year. I was doing independent studies. I couldn't be in school. I had a baby. Now, fast forward, I'm 46 now. I'm an IFBB bodybuilding pro. I've built my own fitness empire. And quite frankly, I have completely transformed my life. And none of that came easy. I wasn't handed anything. I don't come from money. My parents were very blue collar. My dad oftentimes had 2 to 3 jobs growing up. And my mindset had to change dramatically. So I'm going to share with you the mindset roadmap that helped me own my life. And I'm here because it's time for you to do the same. Now, I didn't know that these were the things I was doing at the time, clearly. But now I look back and I can say, these are the changes I had to make in order to get shit done. And I feel like there's a lot of lessons in my journey, and I often reflect on them. And one of them is the saying that if you want something that you've never had before, you have to be willing to do things that you've never done before. One hard reality that was not fun for me, especially those of you that know me being an introvert, is I had to get very comfortable with being uncomfortable. That is something you will have to face. You're going to have to get comfortable with discomfort. There is always this inner voice of resistance that came up for me. You might resonate with that, but you have to be willing to push past that because that bitch, the bitch of resistance, she has a really loud fucking voice. Let me tell you. And if you let her take over, she will keep you stuck and oftentimes will ruin the potential for a very beautiful and fulfilling life. So, in a nutshell, my friends, that is lesson number one. You have to be willing to do the things you've never done before. You're going to have to push outside of that discomfort zone. And all of the cheesy memes and Instagram posts and reels where you see it's like, you push yourself outside your comfort zone. There's truth to that, right? This is just a deeper dive into that, but it is 1000% absolutely true. The next thing you'll have to face is that motivation is fleeting. Your feelings are fleeting. You have to do the damn thing anyway. What you'll have to recruit is discipline. Discipline is going to carry you through when the motivation disappears. Now, this is something I have found to be true in fitness and in life. Okay. So, fitness, if you are here because you are on a fitness journey, there are going to be days when you don't feel like doing shit. And trust me when I say, when I started my business, I did not know what the fuck I was doing, for lack of better words. I didn't know what I was doing. I did not come from a family of business owners. I learned everything on my own. I figured it out. I hired the right people. And oftentimes I had to do things that I didn't feel like doing. And so one of my favorite sayings is fuck your feelings and do the damn thing anyway. This is harder than it seems. So, in any endeavor, you want to have some kind of plan. And you could have the best plan laid out before you. But if you don't feel like doing it and you don't push past that resistance, shit's not going to get done. And let me tell you, I'm a feelings girl. Okay. I like to be woo. I want to honor my feelings and respect my energy and do all those things, especially when I'm not wanting to do something. But at the end of the day, I have to be very honest with myself. And a lot of times I'm talking to myself, friends. In fact, I'm talking to myself right now. And y'all are on the receiving end of that. But realizing motivation comes and goes is key. When you are starting any sort of endeavor, you want to make a big life change, shift, something in your business, your body, relationships, you're going to have these fleeting feelings and you're going to feel more motivated some days than others, but you have to realize that motivation is, it's a cheap date. Like, it's going to come and go, but your discipline is your high yield savings account. That is the investment in your future, is being disciplined even when you don't want to do the things. That is going to get you the results that you want in any area of your life. Now, even on my worst days, I follow through. Now, this doesn't mean that all of my worst days are 100%. Absolutely not. On my worst days, sometimes that looks like I'm doing a couple posts on Instagram. I'm answering some emails. I'm doing the bare minimum. I'm answering my team. I'm making sure they're all set up for what they need to be effective. But I'm doing something. There's a consistency there. There is one more drop in the bucket. And I follow through because one of the biggest lessons that I have learned in achieving success is that it is not going to be comfortable. It is going to be incredibly uncomfortable. You are pushing against ways of being that you are used to showing up in the world as. It is pushing against your self limiting beliefs. It is really stretching yourself beyond what you feel comfortable with doing. And really, it comes down to being consistent with doing those things. It's never 100%. It's never 100% for me. Even on my best days, I will still be the hardest critic of my output, of my work output, knowing that I'm not a robot and I'm not superhuman, but I'm always striving for creating something that I'm going to be proud of when I'm in my rocking chair. I don't want to have rocking chair regret. Now, when it comes to fitness, it's likely hard to believe because I've achieved a very prestigious accolade of being an IFBB bodybuilding pro. That's not an easy thing to do, okay? They don't just hand those things out, prizes in a Cracker Jack box. And if you're over 40, you know what I'm talking about. Most of the time, when I am on some kind of endeavor physically and honestly in business, I'm fighting myself. Okay. Like there's some boxing gloves on and I'm battling with the bitch in my brain because the biggest challenge for most people, and I know for myself, particularly when it comes to health and hotness goals, is just getting to the gym. That is the hardest part for most people, is just getting there. In fact, let's be real, today was one of those days for me. I had every intention in going to the gym today. I have a busy afternoon. I have a lot of things going on. I'm catching up from work. I had family here for 7 days. My productivity was slashed to about a quarter of what I'm used to doing. I woke up and I decided content was more important today. This message was more important today. I will get some movement in at some point. I've booked myself a yoga class. I'm going to get it done. But I just want you guys to know that even those of us that are professionals in fitness struggle. It doesn't come natural or easy. It's just that we have built up the consistency, we have built up the habits. We know that the discipline in setting ourselves up for success and following through pays off. Even in the moments when we don't want to do it, we know that we'll be better for it once it's done. I know for a fact when I'm in the gym, my muscles are burning, I'm dripping in sweat, I'm breathing heavy, maybe I'm feeling self conscious or whatever. Everything in me wants to leave. Okay. This is not every time in the gym, but it's a lot of the time. There is a part of me that's just, I want to go home. I have work to do. I've got laundry. I've got dishes. I am fighting my feelings WWE style. Like we are in the ring. I'm throwing that bitch over my shoulder. I'm grabbing a fold up chair from the audience and I'm beating her over the head with it. Like it is mental gymnastics. But I keep going because I know that this battle is just one of my mind. It is one of my mind. And if I can conquer that, if I can move past that, the end result is something that I will be very proud of. I'll be proud of myself, even for just getting through one workout. I'll be proud of myself for recording one more podcast, writing one more piece of content email, creating one more YouTube video. The resistance I feel up to accomplishing those things is almost sometimes embarrassing. But I know that the consistency of these things will pay off. And that's what I want you to really take away from this podcast. Because not only are these lessons that I have learned in the gym, but this obviously applies to everywhere, especially in life and in business or any kind of endeavor that you are setting out to achieve. So, the takeaway for this is when you are not feeling like doing things, do the damn thing anyway. And remember, if you only waited to take action when you felt like it, you will not accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. You have to push past those feelings. I would not be where I am today with my health, my fitness, my business, my financial freedom. I would not be where I am today if I only did things when I felt like it, right? Think about, if you have children, right? Like when they don't feel like doing something, it is absolutely a drudgery to try to drag them to do things that they don't want to do. And we're oftentimes operating mentally as just big kids. We're just big children in our head. And a lot of these same resistances that we have towards doing adult things are just bigger versions of our childlike selves that threw tantrums. But we know better now. And now we need to pick ourselves up off the floor, wipe ourselves off, and march forward and knock shit out. Do the shit that needs to be done. Feelings are fleeting. Motivation's a myth. Motivation is great. It gets you started. We see it all the time when people start our programs. They're very hot and heavy. It's like the beginning of a new relationship. And we get them excited. We get them pumped up and we get them motivated because we know it'll get them some wins. It'll get them the momentum that they need to get started, but it's not going to keep you going. It is not going to keep you going. It is not going to get your ass to the gym in the morning when you're tired. You had a long night. Maybe your kids were sick. Maybe you worked late. Maybe you stayed up eating too many snacks, right? In the morning, that motivation is going to be gone. It's going to be gone. And you have to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing and remind yourself, this is what Diane was talking about. I don't feel like doing this thing right now, but the later me will thank this me for just doing it anyways. Successful people in fitness and in business, I've met tons of them. I've hired many business coaches and I've done many business workshops and things like this over the course of my business life, more specifically, the last at least like 12 years. They are watching people that are successful in these realms. They're successful because they take action in spite of how they feel. There were so many times I hired a business coach and I was in a mentorship group and I met other women who were crushing. They're making obscene amounts of money. They're doing launches that I couldn't even fathom. And a lot of times talking with them, I'm realizing, oh, they just have more reps than I do, right? Like they have more reps in doing things outside of their comfort zone, doing things when they don't feel like doing them, trying things out regardless if they're going to fail or not, and they just course correct and get back on track and just learn from a failure. They just have more reps of doing that than I do. And when I started getting out of my own way with not only my business, but my body, my personal life, my relationships, I realized this is what it takes. It's doing things many times and fuck perfection. Let's not even get into that, right? Let's just throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, try things out. And lo and behold, with time, you have developed a, I don't want to say an insensitivity, but you desensitize yourself to failure. And when shit doesn't go right, right? You take it less personal. You don't think of things as I'm a failure. It's more of, oh, this thing just didn't work. What can I do differently? This strategy was not setting me up for success. What can I change? And this is goes for fitness too. I see so many women that join our programs or they join programs in general and then they come to us because they want to find the next new shiny thing that they think is the silver bullet. And the common theme that I see is that they don't give it enough time. They give up on themselves way too soon. They throw in the towel, they go extreme, they don't take the tortoise route in terms of, I'm just gonna show up every day and continue to do the things that I need to do that are gonna pay off in the long haul. They want the shortcuts. They want the pill, they want the magic workout, the magic macros, the magic diet plan, and I'm gonna tell you, that does not exist. You have to do the work. You have to show up every day. You have to deploy discipline. If you are trying to build a business, if you are trying to start a new career, go to school, change the trajectory of your life, divorce, start a new relationship, live on your own, any of these things that are big, scary, life changing goals, you have to show up every day and face that fear head on and do it anyways. And that's how you build confidence. I always ponder that thought, right? I've had a lot of women over the years reach out, whether it's email, DM, in person. They're just like, wow, I'm so impressed or I'm so inspired about your journey and just your ability to be direct and you're transparent and you're brave and you're bold and all these things. Let me tell you, that shit was not, it is the outcome or the result of doing things despite how I feel about them, being scared and doing it anyways. And when you start to embody that type of mentality, that is how you build confidence. You don't just have confidence. Most people aren't just born with this innate sense of confidence. It's a skill. It is something that has to be learned for most humans. And the way that you learn it is by putting yourself out there and taking risks and doing things that are scary, doing things even when you don't feel like doing them, and realizing that you can. And when you realize that you can do things, and that you are the one that was in charge of that result, it is really fucking empowering. Okay. There is no feeling like knowing that you can control the outcome of your body, your mindset, your life, your relationships. You have so much more control than you give yourself credit for. A lot of us put ourselves in this like victim mentality. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm stuck in this body. I'm stuck in this relationship. I'm stuck in this job. No, you're not. That's a story that you tell yourself. That's something that you have reinforced by avoiding doing the hard work. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. It is the truth. I see it time and time again. And listen, I've been that person. I have been that person that took way too long to get out of a relationship because I felt like I didn't have control, or I felt like I didn't want to hurt the other person's feelings, or I was afraid of the mess that would ensue after it, right? It's scary. It's scary. But you know what else is scary? What's really fucking scary is being stuck in a life, in a body, in a relationship, in a mindset that keeps you trapped, and you are imprisoned there by your own hand. Let's move on to talking about investing in yourself, because the reality of it is the best investment that you can make is one that is in you, in yourself. It is not the investment that you make in your partner. It is not the investment that you make in your children. It is the investment that you make in yourself in becoming the best version of you, because you will show up as a better human for the other humans around you. Every skill that I have learned, whether it be in bodybuilding, in business, in parenting, right? These skills have created freedom in my life. I stopped waiting for someone else to give me security. I stopped relying on a partner. I did it myself. I was like, look, if I want shit done the way I want it done, I want to achieve the things I want to achieve, I am not waiting on a man for a meal fucking ticket. Absolutely not. I have not been doing that since I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter. And the father of my children decided that he didn't want, if he couldn't have all of us, then he wanted none of us. And I caught him cheating. And I was like, look, I am not here for that. And I'm pregnant. I'm 8 months pregnant. I've just kicked baby daddy out. I've got another small child. I have 2 children. I'm about to be 19 years old. I had to rely heavily on my parents at that time in my living situation. I had to rely heavily on government assistance and food stamps and WIC and public housing, right? Government housing, government insurance, all of that shit by myself. And I noticed that anytime I took the time to try to better myself, which at the time was I went into a trade school for medical transcription, and I started realizing that I'm not stupid, right? I think this was a story I told myself in high school was I'm dumb, I'm not smart, I didn't do well in school, I got pregnant, right? And a lot of the things that I was hearing from some of my closest family members, some of my uncles, cousins, and things were, oh, Diane's pregnant. She's dropped out of school. She's not going to graduate. Fuck that. I graduated. Okay. I graduated with my son on my hip. Okay. And a lot of that was worrying about, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life? Here I am. The odds are stacked against me. I don't have an education. I put myself into a trade school. I relied heavily on government assistance to help me with daycare. My family helped out. And it was hard. I showed up. I didn't want to. It was challenging. I had 2 screaming children at home. I had to offload that to family and friends. But I knew that that was not my story. That was not how my story was going to end. And I had big visions for myself before I had children. There was a lot of dreams and hopes and things that I wanted as a young teen girl. And I knew that I wasn't just going to be a statistic. I wasn't going to be just a pregnant teen mom on government assistance and living at home and not creating a life for myself and just living off of my parents. I refused. So when I took the time to invest in myself and went through a trade school, and then I hustled my ass off. I worked in a job for a year knowing that's not where I was going to stay, but I needed experience. And it was my investment. It was investing. It was putting the time in and knowing that was going to serve me better for my next endeavor. And I just continued to level up from that day. From the day that I got my first job in the medical field, knowing that I was driving to a city that was a 40-minute drive each way. It was the only job that bit in terms of hiring me for this role because there were so many people graduating from these types of schools that it was really difficult to find a job when you were new and you were right out of this trade school. So from those early lessons on, each time I was able to level up in some way, I would, right? I got another job and then I worked a second job and I worked at the gym and then I saw the people in the gym and I thought, this is what I want, right? So I want you to stop waiting for someone else to give you that security. I want you to build it for yourself. Now, I've been working with women for almost 20 years. A lot of that time has been spent in person very closely with women through when I owned the pole dancing side of the business to the boot camp side of the business to the personal training side of the business and also moving into competitive coaching for bodybuilding athletes. And I've spent a lot of time listening to stories and dreams that have not been followed through. They're dreams that are laying in this like cemetery of or forgotten goals that turned into someday I want to do that thing. And I ask you this very fervently, very passionately, very intentionally, because I have a lot of women in my circle, friends, clients, and whatnot that are putting things off. They're putting off goals that they want to achieve, not just in their bodies, but in their lives, risks that they want to take, relationships that they want to end, relationships that they want to grow, and they're putting things off. So I want to ask you, what are you putting off? And if you don't know how to achieve that thing that you are putting off, that's okay. I did not know what the fuck I was doing when I started a podcast. I didn't know what I was doing when I started bodybuilding. I did not know what I was doing when I had children. They don't come with instruction manuals. I did not know what I was doing with most of the endeavors that I have sought out in my life. But I knew that if I could find someone who was 5 steps ahead of me that I could learn from, that would push me outside of my comfort zone, that would be life-changing for me. I knew it. I knew there was so much power in surrounding myself with people that were doing better than myself. So who do you need to reach out to? Who do you need to hire? What do you need to research? What do you need to start looking into to live the life that you have always wanted? The life that you are missing out on, the life that is within your grasp, regardless of what age you are. It does not need to be elaborate. Your goals, your dreams, your desires, they don't have to be elaborate. They don't need to look like anybody else's because they're yours. It's what makes you happy. Maybe you want to ditch the hustle and bustle of the everyday life, the rat race of life, the technology, the this, the that, the having the things, the material things. Maybe your dream is to move into a tiny home in the woods. I'm not going to lie, that was my dream for a minute. What is stopping you? Maybe you want to travel abroad. Maybe you want to chase that dream you always had of going to school and maybe becoming a chef, a lawyer, a doctor. Some of the world's most renowned people started their careers and made their mark in this world over 40. So many of them started when they were over 40, over 50, over 60. even in their 70s. It's not too late. It's too late when you're looking back and you had plenty of opportunity and now you're sick, you're ill, maybe you're on your deathbed. I hate to be morbid, but this is the truth. It's brutally honest. I want you to ask yourself, what is stopping me? Is it a fear of what people think? Is it a fear of failing? Remember, I heard this quote from one of my early business mentors, Marie Forleo, and it has stuck with me forever. And it is often a go-to phrase when shit hits the fan. Things don't go right. I get scared. I'm not sure. I think that something's going to fail. The phrase is everything is figureoutable. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Everything is figureoutable. Now, of course, there are days when I thought I wasn't going to make it and this is too overwhelming and this is way too big of a project or a goal or an endeavor for me. But I know from experience that if I don't push through that mental garbage, I'm going to just stay stuck. I'm going to stay in this spiral of stuckness. And it's not fun. It's not a great place to be. So, what are you procrastinating about? What is stopping you right now? And I want you to take a pause and I want you to think about that. Now, we're going to go more into getting comfortable with discomfort because being comfortable and choosing comfort over discomfort, that is going to kill your growth. If you live in just, oh, I got to be comfortable with everything. Oh, that's scary. That's discomfort. I'm going to avoid that. You're going to avoid success in some areas. And if you're fine with that, y'all, you can just push stop on this podcast. But if you are a boss bitch in training, a boss bitch aspiring, if you are an aspiring boss bitch, then you need to understand that your personal growth is going to happen outside of your comfort zone. Now, whether it was stepping on stage 16 times or building my business from scratch or having children at a very young age, every big win came from doing things that scared the shit out of me. One of the biggest fears that most people have, if you run a poll, I think there's a study or there's statistics out there that show that one of the most terrifying things for people is public speaking. And you're probably like, oh, yeah, just think about it. Just think about yourself standing on a stage, giving some kind of speech or some kind of talk. It's terrifying. It's terrifying for most people, right? The judgment. What are people going to think? I'm going to trip over my words. I'm going to forget what I'm going to say. People are staring at how fat I am, how ugly I am, how old I am, how I talk. I'm silly, right? We go through the entire mental circus show about all these assumptions. And when it came to bodybuilding, that was terrifying. I'd never done anything like that. I did cheerleading for a sneeze in time in 8th grade for Pop Warner. And so nothing I had ever done compared to bodybuilding. Absolutely nothing. And I knew that if I wanted to achieve that goal, I was going to have to do the things that I wasn't skilled in doing. I had to put myself out of my comfort zone. And it was terrifying. There was a lot of discomfort. And one of the other quotes that carries me through, and still to this day, is feel the fear and do it anyways. Feel the motherfucking fear and do it anyways. Do it scared. Do it uncertain. Do it unknowing of what the outcome is going to be. And be proud of yourself for getting one more rep in of doing scary shit. Because that, my friend, is how you will build confidence. Playing small, we don't do that here. We don't do that in this family, in this boss bitch family. Playing small is a way to blend in, to be a sheep, to do what people think you should do, to follow the mold. I don't do that. No, thank you. Life's too short. I'm not interested in doing that. Had you asked me even 10 years ago, in the middle of this journey, I was a people pleaser. I did things because I didn't want people to be mad at me. I was afraid of what people were going to think. I was scared to do things because what if I failed? What are my parents going to think? What is social media going to think? Fuck it. It's your life. People aren't that concerned with what you're doing. A lot of times we think, oh, everyone is going to be thinking this way about me or they're going to be judging me. We spend so much time worrying about what others think. We spend way more time worrying about it than they do. I'll tell you that right now. Think about anybody in your life, anybody at work. How much time do you spend worrying about what they're doing? It's probably not very much. The most time I spend worrying about anybody in my life is generally my children. And I lead with a very deep why with the things that I do. My why is, what legacy am I leaving for my children? What am I teaching them about life? Am I teaching them that playing it safe and playing small and being fake and hiding the realities of what it takes to be successful and all of the things that make up who I am and what I stand for? What is hiding that doing? That's showing them to play small. I'm trying to teach my children that if you have a message inside of you, if you have a burning desire to do something, if you have a passion, don't go get a comfortable job because it pays the bills. Do the work. Do the work. Be uncomfortable. Do things that are scary. Put yourself out there. Be willing to have people judge you, because at the end of the day, you have to lay your head down on the pillow. You have to understand what is best for you, what your vision is, what your goal is, what for yourself, for your life, how you want to spend the days. Do you want to spend them happy? Do you want to spend them being fulfilled with what you're doing in your life, who you're spending your time with, who your partner is, where you're going to work? I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to teach my kids that the way of life, the way of living is to just be miserable and clock in and clock out in that 9 to 5 that you hate so much because it pays the bills. No thanks. I watched my parents do that and I watched them be absolutely miserable about it. I'm not doing that. So if you want change, you're going to have to lean into that fear, that discomfort. You're going to need to feel the fear and do it anyway, my friend. So many of us never achieve our greatness because of the fear of the unknown. I don't know about you, but I do not want to die with regret of wishing that I did things I was too afraid to do. I refuse. Life's too short. It can be taken from you instantly. And playing small is just not in my wheelhouse anymore. And I don't want it to be in yours either. Now, any given moment that you have fear, doubt, impatience, uncertainty, anytime any of that creeps up, I want you to ask yourself this one simple question. What would a successful person do in this moment? If you are faced with a decision, it could be as simple as, do I go to the gym today because I don't feel like it? Do I reach out to this mentor? Do I buy this program? Do I invest in this course? What would a successful person do? Now, let me give you an example. When I was on my journey to becoming an IFBB pro, which, let me just tell you, I had this dream. I was scared to say it out loud because I was embarrassed. I was like, who the hell are you? You're just a teen. You were a teen mom and you're in fitness and you've been competing, but like, you're 40. What are you thinking? You're going to become a pro? That negative self-talk became quieter and quieter as I did the daily things to get me closer to that goal. And I acted as if. So I would repeatedly ask myself, self, what would a pro do? How would they act? What would they do in this situation? Right? On the days I didn't want to eat that meal, on the days I didn't want to do the cardio, the days I didn't want to train, what would a pro do? Would a pro just hit snooze and continue sleeping? Would a pro cut their cardio short? Would a pro make excuses? Would they not show up for themselves to follow through in that goal? No. They do the things they need to do regardless of how they feel. And I just behaved in the way that I assumed one would act if they were trying to become an IFBB bodybuilding pro. Same thing in my business. I want a successful business. What do successful business owners do? They hire mentors in areas that they are struggling with. They go to conferences, they network with people, they wake up and they have a to-do list. They sit at a desk, they get dressed for the day, they make sure that they are doing things that are in alignment with their business goals. They're setting themselves up for success. They're employing the right people on their team so everyone's rowing in the right direction. When I was becoming a bodybuilding pro, I would oftentimes think about somebody I admired. And I would use that as an anchor when I was asking myself, what would a pro do? Because I needed to associate that with somebody who I knew was successful. Now, when I was getting ready for competing in nationals to go to try to attempt to get my pro card, I was also working with Sid Gillian, who is currently I believe it's 8-time Olympia winner in the figure division in the bodybuilding world. Now, I was working with her because I knew that if I wanted to become a pro, I needed to surround myself with the coaches, the experiences, and the mindset of professionals. I hired her coach because I knew he was successful at creating IFBB pros, creating physiques that were incredible. I hired him. Damien was incredible, and I was able to achieve my pro card status. I hired Sid. Sid works with Damien. Damien is Sid's coach. I hired Sid for my posing. We probably had 8, 10 posing sessions together. I learned how to pose from the fucking best. Anything less was not acceptable to me. And that was an investment I was willing to make. Did I know that the outcome was going to be I was going to turn into a pro? Absolutely not. But I was going to stack the odds in my favor as best as I could. So when I showed up on that stage that day, I wasn't second guessing my plan. I wasn't like, oh, I hired this like cheapy coach from the gym because it was like $99 a month and it was what I could afford. And I just found some girl at the gym who won a figure show once and just had her pose me. No, that wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to become a pro. If I wanted to become a pro, I'm not going Walmart. I'm not going Walmart, okay? I'm investing. And sometimes that means you're stretching things, you're putting things on credit, you're making decisions that are going to benefit the outcome. But I'm going to say that all of those decisions, most of the time, I didn't feel like doing. I didn't feel like hiring these coaches. I didn't feel like doing all the work that needed to be done. I oftentimes thought, who am I? Who the hell do I think I am? I'm 40. I'm hiring this coach. I'm hiring this Olympian that maybe they're laughing at me. Maybe they're like, this girl, she's dreaming big, right? I had all kinds of feelings of self-doubt. And what I did was I said, fuck my feelings. I'm going to do it anyways. And I would GSD. I would get shit done and I would just do it anyways. Most of the time, not wanting to or not feeling like it. So if you're stuck right now, again, I want you to pause. I want you to ask yourself, what is stopping me? A lot of times you can walk over to the mirror and look into that mirror and the answer is staring right before you. It is you are getting in your own way. What do you need to do to get out of your own way and live the life that you were meant to live? All right, you guys, we're coming to the close, but I just need to finish with a hard hit home for you, which is we are not playing small anymore. It is time for you to own your life. Not tomorrow, not January 1st like all the other normies. No, if you're here, you're not a normie. You're a boss bitch. Boss bitches don't wait for January to start taking control of their life. They don't wait till Monday. They don't wait till the new month starts. That's bullshit. That might not ever come. You don't know. You could walk outside and get hit by a bus. Don't leave it up to the next time you think you're going to be inspired or motivated to take action. Let me just give you a spoiler alert. You don't have to wait until a Monday or a new month or January 1st to take action and make some moves. You're not too old. It's not too late. The time is now. The time is now to take action. And that is investing in yourself. Follow the plan. Stop getting shiny object syndrome and quitting before it gets good. Stop playing small. If I can do this shit, pregnant, broke, welfare, scared, depressed, odds stacked against me, no money, no investment, no rich parents, no sugar daddy, none of that. If I can do that, there's no reason why you can't. You can most certainly do it too. Now, I'd love to have you in my circle of baddies. So if you are over on Facebook, come join my Facebook group. It's a nice little private Facebook group. It's called the Boss Bitch Besties. We'll link that up in the show notes. There's thousands of women in there, and they're invested in becoming the best versions of themselves. We're often talking about workouts and food and struggles, and I answer questions in there, and I share some of my favorite tips and tricks and my favorite podcasts and YouTube videos and things that I've created and things that help me. Come join. You need to be surrounded with people who are going to lift you up. So, as always, I'm here to remind you to do this shit, do it right the first time so you don't live like an asshole with regret. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. If this episode, if it hit home for you, share it with another badass woman. Okay. That would be super helpful for not only your badass friend, but for me it's helping share the mission for some other person that maybe needs to hear this. And just remember, my friends, this life, it's the only one you got and it is yours to own. So I want you to stop procrastinating. Don't wait till Monday. Don't wait till the new month. Don't wait till the new year. Take action today and do the damn thing. I love your face, and I'll see you on the next episode.